Hello everybody, welcome to my channel, Thief of Cookies. My name is Erin, and today I'm going to be having an artistic existential crisis. So the other day, I was sketching, working on a freelance project, and I drew this. This hand, right here, just triggered something terrible in me. I drew this character, and I was kind of okay with how it was, like, it's not the best sketch ever, but I was pretty okay, like, it's pretty decent, for me, for my skills at this time. And then I drew this hand, and it looked really bad when I was drawing it, and it looks really bad now. But I couldn't think of a better way to draw it, and so I kind of flipped out a little bit, and I had a little bit of a crisis, because I think I took a step back and looked at where I am as an artist and where I am in life and how comfortable I am with who I am as an artist. And I kind of made a decision that while there are a lot of things, dare I say everything, that I have to improve on as an artist if I want to get good. While there are many, many, many things that I need to improve on, I think my lack of technical skill is really holding me back as an artist right now, and I think that I should do something about that. So, I'm going to do the Sketchbook Slab challenge. This is a challenge that was dreamed up by Holly Brown. I will put a link to her channel in the description. Please remind me if I forget. I hope that I won't. So, the rules of the Sketchbook Slam Challenge. So normally this is a little bit different. Holly's rules for the Sketchbook Slam Challenge is she found a sketchbook on Amazon that's really big. And dimension-wise, this is just 8.5 by 11. Dimension-wise, the sketchbook that she uses is much bigger. I think it's something like this. But I do not care for book-bound sketchbooks, and so I wanted to do a spiral-bound. So to compensate for the lost volume in dimensions, I have acquired an entire ream of my favorite paper, which is Hammermill digital color copy paper. It's 28 pounds, I think, and it's nice and smooth, and I like it. I like the weight. I like how it handles ink. I like how it handles pencil. So I have 500 sheets in these 3 sketchbooks. And what I did is I took them to a local print shop to get spiral bound because I prefer spiral bound. It's okay if you don't. To each their own. But this is what I prefer. And so they had to split it into 3 because it was too big. They didn't have a spiral big enough. Which is cool. Anyway, so here's what I'm going to be doing for this. I'm going to be filling the sketchbook. I have divided this up into 20-page increments. I'll probably not be following those increments exactly since it's 30 days that I have to complete it, but I don't know. I'm setting my goals high at the beginning. I might regret that later, but whatever. Who cares? I'm having a crisis. So, things that are going to go into my sketchbook are mainly, I think, studies. It's not going to be all studies because I have tried to fill a small sketchbook with just all studies before. That was this one. And I very, very quickly... Oh, there's some hay in it. And I have guinea pigs. I very, very quickly realized that I wasn't going to be able to do that. So I started off with studies and trying to look at characters and doing figure drawings, trying to do caricatures, some gestures, and some studies from photos, and from life? That must have been from life, because I was trying to draw my mom there. More studies, and then I very quickly devolved into I just have to do some character art. And that's fan art, but whatever. So I don't think I'm going to be able to keep myself to doing just studies, but that's going to be my main focus. So things I'm going to study. Gestures. All over the place. There's going to be a ton of gestures in this thing. They're probably not going to be pretty. They're probably going to look something like this. These are some gestures that I did the other day. And I think these are 15 seconds. This is just where I am as an artist. This is another reason why I need to improve. It's not going to be pretty. My sketches are going to bleed over into each other, and they're going to be fast, they're going to be loose, they're going to be gross. They're going to be real gnarly sketches, and that's okay. Other things that I'm going to be filling my sketchbook with: really bad drawings, really ugly pages. It's not going to be a pretty sketchbook. I'm not aiming to erase, probably. I might erase one or two things here and there, but probably not. Things I'm going to study: anatomy, gestures, as I've mentioned, human, animal, costumes, environments, objects that aren't figures, because I struggle a lot with drawing props and environments. I'm also probably going to be doing quite a few style emulations and studies, and so that will mean copying basically another artist's style in an attempt to dissect it and try to understand how their mind is working. I've done that a lot. Well, actually, the other one is my old sketchbook that I did that I thought about doing a tour, and then it just wasn't. This is not a pretty sketchbook, and so I was like, oh, I'll just not do a tour of this one. And so my new sketchbook, I decided to try to make it a little bit more visually appealing, which is fun, and I think it looks nicer, but that's my guinea pigs. But it does make for much slower going on the sketchbook front. I guess I can flip through here. Oh, look, here's one. So this is a study off of a drawing by Helen Chen, where I'm just trying to figure out how she structured her drawing, kind of just trying to get a feel for how she moves her lines and how she, does shortcuts and stuff. And these kinds of studies help me a lot. It's my hope and my thought that as I do studies of other artists' art, and so this is different from taking somebody else's art and tracing it and calling it your own and taking credit for it. This is a study. This is not meant for final wait, what word am I trying to use? This is not a piece that's meant for me to go and put on my art website and be like, look at this cool thing that I drew. This is a study from Helen Chen's art. She's an amazing artist. I love her. And this is not my own art. It's a study. So, just to be clear. So yeah, I'll be doing studies of other artists' arts. My hope that as I study a lot of different styles of art, I'll be able to take kind of what I like out of each one and mash them up into, and interpret it on my own, mash it all up into my own unique style, I guess. If that makes any sense at all. But yeah, so I do also want to say one other thing about sketchbooking and my insistence that my sketchbook slam is not going to be a pretty sketchbook. And that is that your sketchbook is the ultimate safe space. And I have a really strong opinion on the kinds of things that should go into your sketchbook. Your sketchbook is not a place for very perfect finished noodled drawings. If you want to experiment with media and everything, that's totally cool. But do you know what's also really totally cool is having really gross, ugly pages in your sketchbook that don't look good and having really bad failed drawings in them and then showing that you can learn from your failed drawings. I don't know if I can flip to something on purpose that really shows what I'm looking at, but if I draw something and I don't like the way that it looks, something that makes me feel better a lot. Oh, that's the same page I was at a while ago. Something that makes me feel better is to redraw it and to try to get what I was trying to go for in that drawing. The thing that I missed, try to understand what that is and why I didn't like that drawing. And so I keep all of my old gross. This is a Ben Caldwell study. You can see me. I really love Ben Caldwell. He's one of my favorite artists and is a huge inspiration. And I wrote, "Give me your secrets, Mr. Caldwell." And it was just notes on the kinds of things that he draws attention to. Anyway, but so the purpose of having ugly drawings in your sketchbook is to show that you can learn from it. To show hey, this is where I was, and then I worked at it, and then here's where I am now. This is something you can totally fall into a trap with this, and that is to fill a sketchbook with really ugly drawings and then just being oh, well, your sketchbook's supposed to be ugly drawings anyway, and not bothering to learn from them. That can totally happen. I'm guilty of it all the time. It's okay if you do this. Just, try to be better. And like, my opinion is that you should try to be better. I mean, if you're really happy with it, that's totally fine too. But yeah, there's definitely been drawings where I haven't been able to really learn anything from it, and I just had to move on. And that's okay. Sometimes you're just not equipped to tackle a problem right at that moment. Sometimes if you draw something and you can't figure out why it's a failure, you can move on. A while later, you can, once you've studied other things and you've learned some more, you can look back sometimes and say, like, oh, that's what I was missing there, and then you can re-tackle that problem. That happens all the time, and that's totally okay. But, yeah, no. Sketchbooks are not a place for beautiful, perfectly rendered drawings, finished drawings. Sketchbook is a place for you to mess up in, to make really stupid looking things in. This is a place for you to make mistakes. This is where you can put everything that you're not sure about, because a lot of the stuff that you're not sure about is going to suck, quite frankly. And that's okay, because you can learn from it. You can come back later. You can make it better. You can just take one little bit of it that you like and use that in the future. And that's just the beauty of sketching. So, anyway, that's my little rant on the Sketchbook Slam Challenge, and, well, sketchbooking in general, I guess. I think that's about all I have to say about it. I may or may not record myself sketching. I like to sketch while I do other things as well, so there's going to be a lot that's not recorded, but I will do at least a flip through at the very end. I'm also probably going to be putting some freelance stuff in here, because I have a freelance project that I'm working on right now, and I want to not slack on it, so there will probably be some of that in here as well, which, I mean, I guess doesn't really make any difference for you guys, but it makes a difference for me, so meh. So yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel. Thanks for listening to me rant about sketchbooks and about my own failures and shortcomings as an artist, and my hope to improve. So I will see you again in my next video. Bye!